Hi everyone, Happy New Year and welcome back to Bonnie Astrology. Today we're discussing the first full moon of the new year and it is happening in the sign of Cancer. This full moon is not necessarily the freshest start because it is going to be opposite Mercury in retrograde, but it is bringing breakthroughs with the sextile to Uranus. This full moon is actually a pretty nice one to start off the new year. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for regular astrology updates from me. You can still book a 2023 reading with me for the month of January. You can contact me at the email address in the description box. So let's get into this full moon in Cancer. I will be going into it individually for each of the signs. Timestamps are listed below. Check your rising. But first, just to recap what the theme is with this full moon. This is also the wolf moon. And wolves are pack creatures. There's a huge association between wolves and family. Similarly, the full moon in Cancer brings up themes of family. Emotions could be running high when it comes to family matters, when it comes to the people you live with, the people you're related to, and a lot of feelings could come up from the surface here. Now, this doesn't just have to be in terms of family because the full moon will be happening at a different area for each of you depending on your chart. But this full moon may bring up a lot of emotions because the sign of Cancer is a water sign. It's pretty emotional. With the opposition to Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, there may be some emotions come to a head through conversations, and with the sextile to Uranus, there can be sudden realizations, aha moments, breakthroughs in your thinking process surrounding past conversations, past misunderstandings. With the full moon being in Cancer, it might be that there's something that needs to be discussed again with a family member or maybe someone you work with because it is opposite Capricorn. And there could be a reflection of something that went wrong, a hiccup, a misunderstanding, a miscommunication during the Mercury retrograde period, which has happened since December 2022. Now, this full moon can bring emotions to the surface, but it looks as though there is a way of working through the difficulties because people are more reflective at this full moon. You might be more likely to see things from another's point of view. There might be a bit of sentimentality attached to this where you're feeling a bit softer. And this can bring it can bring apologies, it can be reconciliations where there has been misunderstanding or difficulty. And it can also come with a tone of fixing things for the sake of a goal, with it being opposite the Sun in Capricorn, which is going to be conjunct Mercury, and trining Uranus. There may be a need to fix something in your emotional life, privately, or in a personal connection in order to further a goal that needs to be revisited as well. So this is fixing things, working through things for the long run. And there may be an emotional release comes up with this as well. There can be emotional conversations with other people. There can be tears. You may be more susceptible to crying. You may be more susceptible to letting some emotions out. And that can be to do with the past because the sign of Cancer is quite a nostalgic, sentimental sign. But it can also be to do with realizing you have to change something in order to create the future you want with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. And this full moon may provide you with the insights to do so. Uranus can bring sudden realizations, sudden changes, innovative ideas, genius suggestions. So do talk to people around this full moon because it's likely that even just through voicing your opinions and your ideas, you might come to your own conclusions that help you out in the long run. It's worth noting that if you have anything at around 16 degrees of Cancer or Capricorn in your chart, you're being the most impacted by this full moon. So that can be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 degrees of Cancer or Capricorn are going to be very highlighted for you in your chart around this full moon. They're going to be activated. So pay attention to what you have around those placements. Look at your birth chart. Say you have Neptune there, say you have the ascendant there, whatever it is, there is likely going to be something coming up for you with this full moon that could be quite emotional, but could also drive or generate an important conversation and reflection in your life. So let's draw a tarot card for the first full moon of 2023 and see what the overall message is for this first full moon of 2023. Could be quite an emotional one. And a very good one for tapping into your intuition as well, tapping into your heart, tapping into your soul, feeling very connected with yourself, feeling very connected with others as well. Three of Cups, that's lovely. This is all about connections with others. So I really feel as though at this time, this full moon favors group activities, favors connecting with others. Venus is going to be in Aquarius. So this is a time to connect with friends, to connect with colleagues, to connect with groups of people, teams, to network, to bounce ideas off each other, to feel the friendship, to feel the connection, and to do things in a team effort, because Venus in Aquarius understands the power of team effort and friendship in all kinds of relationships. And Venus is going to be trining Mars and Gemini at this time, so the air sign energy is quite harmonious. I feel at this time that spending your time with your friends, with people you consider your soul tribe, soul family, and really connecting with others on your thoughts and ideas is going to be very insightful and very positive around this wolf moon, this full moon in Cancer. So do make sure that the weekend that this is happening, you are connecting with others, attending events, spending time with your friends, even if it's just a dinner. It could be a really lovely experience. This card also rules reunions, so you might be reconnecting with people you haven't seen in a while, maybe because of a busy holiday period. So that is what I have for the full moon in Cancer. The timestamps are listed below for your zodiac sign horoscopes. Remember to check your rising first, but you can also check your sun and your moon. Every sign is going to get an oracle card. So that is what I have for this full moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hey Aries, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Cancer, the first full moon of 2023. This full moon is happening in your 4th house, which is bringing themes of home, family, your living situation. It also brings themes surrounding women. It brings themes surrounding self-care and your emotions, and also your emotional foundations. For a lot of you Aries, there could be something coming up surrounding home matters, surrounding family matters. There could also be a little bit of reevaluation and aha moments when it comes to your career and your long-term goals, and maybe how these two marry up. There could be something reflective with your public image, your status, your reputation, perhaps some sort of insight with the sextile from Uranus to the full moon, but the trine to the sun. Perhaps you are going to have some sort of change or shift or aha moment when it comes to your values, when it comes to your work ethic, when it comes to your ethics and values and what you deem to be most important. Perhaps there's some sort of change going on there, some sort of shift, and this is helping you facilitate reconciliation with a career goal, perhaps getting something to work better the second time round. And it might also lead to some insights when it comes to themes of home and family for you Aries. So these are things that are coming up for you around this full moon. And perhaps with the sextile to Uranus, you have some extra cash to make some changes to your home. Maybe you have some extra cash to buy some new cushions or add some new touches, finishing touches, and really a little bit of nesting around this time, Aries. There could also be ironing out misunderstandings and miscommunications when it comes to parents, when it comes to authority figures, when it comes to people you work with, but also people you live with, Aries. We have the anxiety card, so perhaps some of you have placements, your Aries placements are around 16 degrees and you could be feeling a little bit triggered by this full moon. You might be feeling a bit anxious about the emotions that are coming up. Try to tune into the emotions that do come up around this full moon. There could be something with anxiety here because this is happening in your sector of long-term goals, but also your sector that's very closely linked to your emotional foundations. You could be feeling a bit torn between what you want to do for the future and the past. Your mind could be everywhere but the present. So perhaps find time around this full moon Aries to tune in, to meditate, to reflect, to take it easy, to maybe cross something off your list and tune into your emotions and try and self-regulate your way through them. Or also having conversations with other people may lead to aha moments, breakthroughs, and possibly help soothe some of your concerns. But that is what I have for you Aries, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Taurus, Sun, Moon and Rising. Taurus, welcome to your full moon in Cancer forecast. Now, Taurus, this full moon is happening in your sector of the mind. This is all to do with your mindset, your way of thinking, your thought patterns, your communication style. This can also trigger issues surrounding siblings, social activity, your neighbors, and perhaps some of your social interests, Taurus. Now, it is going to be opposite your 9th house, where we have a Mercury retrograde. So these are issues of travel, wisdom, your higher education, things like law, things like learning and stuff like that. So there's a bit of reflection going on in this area for you, Taurus. You could be thinking about travel plans. You could be reconsidering travel plans. A lot of you could be having some kind of breakthrough when it comes to your viewpoint on the world and your perspective on the world. So it is as if you are the person triggering this, Taurus, because there is a sextile coming from your first house where Uranus is. You're having some personal breakthroughs, you're having some insights with yourself that are leading to a different viewpoint of the world, perhaps seeing things from a very different perspective. Perhaps you're studying something that's changing your perspective, Taurus, or perhaps certain changes in your own personal attitude and your approach to life are maybe leading you towards seeking some sort of change or reevaluation when it comes to your education, or perhaps when it comes to your politics, your religion, the way you view the world, ethics as well. Now, the full moon is happening in your third house, so if you have siblings, there could definitely be something of note coming up there, perhaps a conversation that is important in reflecting on something from the past. This could be to do with neighbours as well. There could be something coming up that generates a conversation. But I feel as though your viewpoint is changing in a way, Taurus, that is supporting either your relationships with your siblings, your neighbours, your friends, your social interests in general, or just supporting a different vision for the world, a different vision of how you see the world, a different personal philosophy. But it looks like you yourself are changing this, Taurus. So you might be feeling more open-minded, I think, with the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde. It's like you're having a really reflective moment on your belief systems. Ooh, interesting. We have the yin and yang card. So I feel like something is balancing out in your life and you're able to see things from two very different perspectives. You know that there is not complete opposites because any opposite is part of the same line. That's why full moons are so emotional, because it's two very different perspectives, but they're part of the same line. So you can move up and down the scale at any time. And I feel like a lot of you are becoming that bit more open-minded, maybe through a travel experience, maybe through education. But also it is you and your actions facilitating this, you're supporting this. And I feel as though this is a very open-minded, open time for you, Taurus. And if you're having conversations with neighbours or siblings or friends, it does feel as though these are very enlightening at this time. You may also hear from people that you went to university with, people you studied with, or people you have travelled with or met through travelling in the past, Taurus. Let's get an oracle card for you. We have blossoming abundance. I feel like you're feeling really fruitful around this time. I mean, this full moon does support Uranus in your first house. Perhaps some of you are doing something with your appearance and you're feeling really pleased with it. You're maybe feeling very blessed, feeling very fruitful, feeling very lucky around this time, and you're feeling very expansive. Perhaps this is what is attracting more to you in the way of opportunities, Taurus. But that is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising, and welcome to your forecast for the full moon in Cancer. So Gemini, first things first, there's a few things going on for you that are important. Mercury is still in retrograde. Mercury is your ruler, and Mars is still retrograde in your sign. So up until the 12th, 18th, because it was on the 12th of January that Mars will station direct, and it's on the 18th of January that Mercury will station direct. So there's a lot of activity happening for you that you may feel a little bit like at times you're putting your head up against a brick wall. You might feel a bit frustrated. By the middle of January, this starts to dissipate. You start to feel a bit more like things are moving, like you've more energy back. You're not feeling maybe as much as you want to rip someone a new one with your words. But I think it's a much calmer energy coming from you middle of the month. One thing that is happening that is quite nice for you with this full moon is that Venus is trining Mars in your first house, and Venus is bringing this trine from your ninth house, which is to do with travel, higher philosophy. So it might be that perhaps you're getting a travel opportunity, or if you're traveling or learning something, we literally can just hear a plane or a helicopter going over my head as I said that. So I think that's a sign that you might be taking, it's a helicopter. That's a sign that you might be taking a trip, Gemini, or maybe it's saying to see things from a higher perspective in order to feel a little bit more soothed. You know, perhaps that is studying astrology and knowing that it's going to pass, and knowing the positives of having a Mars retrograde in your first house and the reflection that comes with it, or something like that. But this full moon is happening in your second house, which is very financial for you. So there could be something coming to a head surrounding money. This can be to do with reevaluation or looking over something again when it comes to taxes or other people's money. Perhaps for some of you, this is a tax rebate. based on you going over your accounts again and realizing that you actually have overpaid, or maybe you've paid too much money, or perhaps you're owed something or something like that. The full moon is highlighting your financial sector. And this could be money that was hidden from you, because there's a sextile from Uranus in your 12th house, which is to do with the hidden. So it could be for a lot of you that perhaps you're coming into some money that you didn't know was owed to you initially, and it's maybe from, an accountant going over something of yours financially, or perhaps the government going over something, or HR or something like that, and maybe there's some money coming into you. Or perhaps it's your partner is coming into some money that is owed to them, and it's helping you financially as well. On a more esoteric level, this could be that some of the healing you've been doing, some of the releasing, some of the deep-seated spiritual revolutions you've been having internally perhaps are supporting your value system and what matters most to you now, especially when it comes to your intimate relationships. When it comes to money, perhaps you're sort of a little bit less concerned with the financial route, and you're maybe feeling a little bit more as though you want deeper connections, you want to ponder life's mysteries, and these are more important values to you at this time, Gemini. So let's get you an oracle card and see what we have for Gemini. The thinking woman. I feel like a lot of you, this is such a Gemini card actually. A lot of you could be really engrossing yourself in a specifically good book, a book that is very dear to you. You could also be coming across a podcast, or even a YouTuber, or someone who you really like the way that they think. For some of you, you could be publishing a book, you could be writing a book, or you could be reflecting on the way that you think, what your mindset is. You have a lot to consider at this moment. And there may be someone coming in the role of a teacher, or you could be hearing from somebody who is very intellectual, and they could be writing you a letter. They could be you could be receiving a letter from a woman at this time. There is something linked to a female in your life who has something to say or something to communicate, or this could be you really opening your mind and learning something important, Gemini. And if I want to hedge my bets, it could be that this is a book related to finance, or it could be a book related to healing, karma, the afterlife, healing the subconscious, or something like that. But that is what I have for you, Gemini, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. Welcome to your forecast. So Cancer, this full moon is happening in your sign, meaning that you yourself could be feeling quite emotional at this time. You could be feeling quite sensitive. You could be feeling very sentimental, very nostalgic. You could really be feeling very self-conscious or self-aware with this full moon, Cancer, particularly when it comes to relationships, because there is going to be a Sun-Mercury conjunction while Mercury is retrograde in your 7th house of relationships, your marriage, your partners. There could be something gets brought up again with a partnership. Perhaps this is going to be an important conversation in your relationship or your marriage. A lot of you that are not in relationships, or even those of you that are, could hear from someone from the past that you used to have a relationship with. This can be a partner, a spouse, this can be a best friend, or this can be a business partner, but it's someone you had a very strong tie to, someone a very strong connection with. And if it isn't someone from the past, it's a past issue within a relationship. And I feel as though you might be getting some really good advice from friends. You might also be getting some very good advice from the internet, because the 11th house where Uranus is sextiling your full moon in the 1st house, but it's also trining your relationship sector. You could be getting some great advice from friends, from groups. You could be getting some great advice from future you. If you're into that sort of thing, you could be doing one of those messages from your future self, kind of pick a cards or something like that. You could be getting some insight from the future here. I feel like a lot of you are going to be reevaluating, in a sense, what you want from relationships. There could be some apologies comes up in a relationship or a marriage. There could be a breakthrough occurrence with a relationship if there's been confrontation or fighting, because I do feel like with that sextile Uranus, there's an innovative idea of how to make it work for the future. And again, for those of you that are not in relationships or not dating anybody, you could absolutely hear from someone from the past. And maybe even for some of you, you could actually reconcile with somebody from the past, Cancer. So let's have a little look and see what we get for you. We have rest and rejuvenation, so take care of yourself around this full moon because you could be feeling quite on edge. Full moons typically ramp up your own emotional energy, and emotions can be quite exhausting, so do make sure that you're taking time to rest. This is a very meditative card, so take time to meditate if you feel overwhelmed. This is also a 19, which overall reduces to a 1, so focus on yourself. I know that there is a lot going on with your relationship sector because of the Sun-Mercury conjunction in that sector, but this is asking you to focus on rest, recuperation, and looking after yourself, Cancer. So that is what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Welcome to your full moon forecast. So Leo, this full moon is happening in your sector of endings, healing, closure, karma, the subconscious, what's hidden from you, your limitations, your hidden enemies. That sounds quite intense, but this full moon is actually pretty well aspected. So the full moon happening here, it can make you for sure more emotional. You might encounter an old issue internally. Perhaps you become aware, either through a dream or a circumstance, of a limiting belief that you have, something that you're holding back, something perhaps from the past like guilt or shame or grief. These things could be coming up at this time for you to process them, maybe in the guise of a really strange dream, or maybe in the guise of a miscommunication, possibly with people you work with, possibly frustrations with your company, the company that you work for, possibly feeling like you have some sort of physical limitation. Or you could just be feeling kind of run down physically or something like that. Mercury and the Sun are conjunct in your 6th house, which is to do with your health, your fitness. It's also to do with your work. So this could be a time where perhaps you've had maybe a miscommunication with work. Maybe something has gone wrong. You sent an email to the whole organization or something like that. There maybe has been a miscommunication with a colleague or an employee, or there has been some discord with your working relationships, or there has been some lack of progress when it comes to a fitness or health goal or want, something that you've wanted to do health-wise, or maybe you've just not been feeling physically motivated. There could be emotions come up around this time that show you why that has been the case. So perhaps you have some sort of limiting belief in your subconscious, and it becomes apparent to you that maybe you self-sabotage when it comes to work or fitness or health. These things can become clear to you. Now, there is going to be, Leo, a lovely trine from your 10th house to your 6th house. So it feels as though there might be a boss, or there might be someone in a position of authority, or someone who's quite successful that can help you with these limiting beliefs. Similarly, you might be getting some sort of recognition career-wise. You might be getting really good advice from a father or a male in your life. Or the healing work that you're doing with this full moon could actually help you in the long term with goals, status, and reputation, Leo. It might also be entirely possible, and I don't want you to get paranoid because the 12th house can make people very paranoid, but it might be that you become aware either through an event or through intuition that someone you know on a professional capacity, in particular someone you work with, can also be someone you work out with, or someone you know in your daily life, but mostly in sort of a professional capacity, might not necessarily have your best interests at heart, and might be in whatever way not even, it doesn't even have to be overt and obvious. They might not be aware of it themselves, where they could be holding you back, limiting you, making you feel insecure, or sabotaging you in some capacity, Leo. So just be mindful of that. The full moon in the 12th house can reveal hidden enemies, and it can reveal them through dreams or just a very strong intuition. So just pay attention, Leo, if you have an icky feeling about someone, or just a little bit of a dark feeling about someone, most likely in a professional capacity. Let's see what we have for you, Leo. The Garden and the Gate. This is the perfect card for a full moon in the 12th. You're becoming aware where you have been limiting yourself, where you've been holding yourself back, where you have been subdued, where you've been submissive in some regard, or whatever issue has been holding you back, Leo. And for a lot of you, it could be guilt, shame, or grief, because I note the 2 butterflies in this card that she's watching. And in Japan, butterflies are associated with the dead. So it could be what has been and gone is in some way affecting you from some kind of goal you have set up for yourself on a more practical level, Leo. But that is what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Virgo, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Cancer. So Virgo, this full moon is happening in your sector of groups, friends, your hopes and wishes, your social connections, your teams. and it is opposite your 5th house, where we have a Sun-Mercury conjunction. The 5th house rules romance, love affairs, play. It also rules fertility, what we produce, what we create, and childhood expression, childlike expression, but also our hobbies. I feel like for a lot of you, Virgo, there's emotions coming to a head when it comes to your friendships. And this might be perhaps that there have been miscommunications when it comes to what you love to do. Perhaps you have different interests to your friends now. Perhaps you're not seeing eye to eye on someone you're dating or something like that. There may have been miscommunications when it comes to romance, or it could be entirely possible, Virgo, that you hear from someone you used to date or be romantically interested in, or someone from the past who's showing you romantic interest at this time. And if it's not that, if you're in a relationship, if you're settled, this could be that you're rethinking how to inject more romance into the equation. For some of you, this could also be to do with pregnancy. Now, a full moon in the 11th house, I feel as though emotions may run high when it comes to your future. You're like, what do I want to do with the future? Am I going to achieve this? Is this ever going to happen? And it can also be I really wanted this to happen. It hasn't happened. Can I make it happen? You probably can with a bit of creativity, Virgo. There is a sextile coming into this full moon from your 9th house where Uranus is. Uranus has been there for quite a while, so you're aware of this. But this rules travel, your higher education, your higher perspective, your religious beliefs, higher learning, personal philosophy, that kind of thing. I feel as though you might be having a little bit of a revelation when it comes to your worldview. You could simply decide, Virgo, at this time, you want to think more positive. And this is in some way shaping maybe a bit of reconciliation with a romantic partner, seeing things from a different perspective. This can also be with your friends. There can be reconnections there. You could definitely be having a nice social activity around this time, Virgo, going out that weekend, having good conversations with people. And it could be that if you're at a social event, you run into someone you used to date, or even just someone you knew from childhood, maybe. And if it's not someone you did date, it could be someone you feel like you've met before. There's sort of a deja vu kind of feeling going on for you when it comes to love, Virgo. But you're also, I think, really figuring out how to make something work for the future in terms of a wish or aspiration. Let's get you a card. The Magician in the Mirror. Perfect. You're figuring out how the inside reflects the outside and how your thoughts and your beliefs shape your experience and how things are being reflected back at you, Virgo. So you're really considering how to make magic by changing what is on the inside and seeing how differently that looks when it's reflected back to you. And a lot of the time with retrogrades, it can be that we realize the only thing that needed to shift to make something work was our viewpoint. So that may factor into something you're picking up again. Might be a hobby, might be a romance, or might be a way of parenting, or it could be in your friendships. That's what I have for you, Virgo, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising. Welcome to your forecast for the Cancer full moon. Libra, this full moon is happening in your 10th house of career, your success, your reputation, your long-term goals, your public image. So this full moon for you could be putting these themes into the spotlight, particularly in an emotional context. You might be feeling quite emotional about these things. There could be something happening in your career that generates a lot of feeling. Perhaps this could be a promotion. Perhaps this could be a clearing up of an issue in your life, Libra, because this full moon is going to be opposite the Sun and Mercury retrograde in your sector of home and family. There could be a clearing up of a miscommunication, a misunderstanding, or a personal issue when it comes to your home, when it comes to your family members or your roommates. This can also be that there's some kind of breakthrough when it comes to your home or property matter. And with Uranus being in Taurus for you, there is some sort of supportive aspect coming in from your 8th house, meaning that perhaps there is some sort of joint venture with someone, or some component of your intimate relation is really helping you out with this. So there could be someone helping or facilitating the misunderstanding with a family member, or maybe even in your career. There's a clearing up of an issue happening for you, Libra, and you could be feeling particularly sensitive to this if you have placements at around 16 degrees in particular. You might be feeling quite on edge about these things, but there does seem to be something happening in your career that is being supported by maybe a partner of yours, your spouse, maybe being supported by a financial investor. or someone else's money is helping you out with your career. But this can also be that perhaps you're having some sort of psychological breakthrough that is facilitating this emotional release when it comes to your future, when it comes to your long-term goals, or when it comes to a family member or a family issue. So it could be that, for example, you could be seeing a therapist and you could have some sort of insight that helps you see things from a different perspective when it comes to a family issue or a home issue. But this can also be a time where you are in the spotlight when it comes to career, perhaps for something you have been working on financially, perhaps for something you've been working on with someone else because it's being supported by your sector of merging. So you could be in the spotlight around this time, Libra, and this could be something that is helping you. There could be some kind of breakthrough coming for your career and your long-term goals. Let's see what we have for you, Libra. We have the yin and yang card. This definitely came out for someone else. This is very you because it's very balanced and it's about seeing how opposites are still part of the same scale. So you have two different opposing views, but they're on the same line. So you can slide up and down the scale whenever you choose to. And perhaps you're seeing things a little bit more, you're leaning a bit more to someone else's perspective and saying, actually, do you know what? I kind of agree with you. And they're maybe leaning to your perspective a little bit more and you're kind of meeting in the middle. That is what I'm getting with this. I think you're also being called to balance your career life and your personal life a little bit better. So perhaps if you've been spending all your time in the office, you're being called to spend a bit more time at home. Or perhaps if you've been spending all your time at home, maybe you'll find that going out and mingling with your colleagues, the people you work with, is going to be something that actually feels very rejuvenating for you. That's what I have for you, Libra, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Rising. Welcome to the full moon in Cancer horoscope for your sign. So Scorpio, this full moon is happening in your travel sector. But it's not just your travel sector, it's to do with higher education. It is to do with your worldview, your philosophy. A lot of you could be traveling at this time. A lot of you could be seeing or experiencing a different culture or seeing things from a different perspective. You could be having a bit of an awakening, seeing things from a different perspective, particularly with a partnership because it is being supported by Uranus in your 7th house. So maybe you and your partner are traveling around this time, or you are seeing things from a different perspective, a different viewpoint because of a partner. Or perhaps you're getting into a relationship with someone who comes from a very different background to you and you are in turn seeing things from a different lens. If it's not that, it could be a business partner. You're traveling for business with a partner or with a close friendship. You could be traveling with them too. There is a Mercury-Sun conjunction, a Sun-Mercury conjunction, Mercury retrograde in your 3rd house. So when it comes to communication, I feel like you're reevaluating something you said or something you did or a mindset. And perhaps you're reevaluating this because of a partnership, or perhaps you are easing something out within a relationship. Perhaps you're going to have some sort of breakthrough in communication when it comes to your close relationships, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a partnership, whether that is a business relationship. You're having some sort of mental breakthrough rather than a mental breakdown, and you're seeing things differently, and this is helping you have better conversations, better communications. And I feel as though for a lot of you there could be some form of apology in the mix because the Sun and Mercury are conjunct in your 3rd house of communication. You might be having a very important breakthrough with a sibling. You could be having a conversation with a sibling because the Cancer full moon brings up strong themes of family. So for a lot of you, you could be having some sort of breakthrough, maybe when it comes to a sibling, a family member, or maybe even a neighbor. But if it's neither of those things, if it's none of those things, it could just be your mindset itself is undergoing a bit of a shift, Scorpio, and you're seeing things from a different perspective. Maybe you're going to apologize to someone or someone's going to apologize to you. I don't know, but it seems as though there is some kind of breakthrough when it comes to communication that is helping you see things from a different perspective. We did have the envy card came up. It actually flipped itself out. So it might be that at this time you're realizing maybe in your mindset where you're having feelings of envy, where you're having feelings of jealousy, or perhaps you're seeing things differently surrounding those issues. Especially if it is to do with finances, maybe you're envy of other people's finances, or you're feeling a little bit jealous of people flexing on the internet. And perhaps with that Sun-Mercury conjunction in your 3rd house, you're deciding you want to take a break from social media because it's generating a mindset that you don't want to have. That is what I have for you, Scorpio, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Welcome to your full moon in Cancer forecast. So Sagittarius, this is happening in your 8th house, and that is your sector of merging. It's your Intimate sectors where you merge with others on an emotional basis, on an intimate basis, but also financially. So this is where you're very deeply entwined with someone else or with something else, maybe an organization, the government, something like that, where there's joint financial ventures or joint goals. This can also be quite a mysterious house, so there might be some kind of mystery coming up around this time that you can finally solve thanks to the sextile from Uranus in your 6th house. So perhaps some kind of mystery gets solved in terms of health. Maybe you find that you were missing something and you suddenly find it around the house, or someone at work helps you solve a mystery. There could be some sort of mystery comes up around this time. Now, the reason I say that in particular is because we have a Sun-Mercury conjunction in your 2nd house, but Mercury is retrograde. So perhaps something that has been puzzling you for a while finally makes sense. So the Mercury retrograde Sun conjunction is happening in your 2nd house of money. So there's some sort of reflection coming up when it comes to your money. There's a reflective attitude, perhaps to values, or maybe some kind of breakthrough when it comes to your financial life. And this could be due to somebody else's input, or some kind of connection in your life is helping you see your finances differently, is helping you see them more clearly, is helping you figure out what you need to do on a financial basis. And this can also be positively impacting your work at this time, the work that you do, or even your health and your fitness goals, Sagittarius. This full moon is definitely highlighting your finances and how you feel about your finances, but the 8th house can be a very psychological place. So you might be noticing around this full moon, you might feel a bit more triggered than usual, you might feel a bit more macabre than usual, you might be more interested in the occult, in life's mysteries, in the hidden. You might be finding yourself absolutely glued to a criminal case or something. So just watch your mental health at this time as well, because you could get quite obsessive about something that is quite dark. And it's fine to have, interests in these type of areas. Like I have an 8th house stellium in Scorpio, so I understand this, but it can sometimes affect you mentally. So it's just with this full moon, you can overdo it and you can feel a bit more emotional about these things, Sagittarius. So just mind for that. You could be feeling a bit more obsessive, particularly about mysteries at this time, but it really feels as though your finances are the main thing on the table, Sagittarius. Ooh. For you, we have the patience card. You're having to be patient with something. You're having to take your time with something. Interestingly, underneath we have the action card. So it's knowing when is the right time to act. Mars is retrograde in your partnership sector. Mercury is retrograde in your financial sector. With so much retrograde energy, particularly the Mars retrograde up against you, it's not necessarily the time to act. It's the time to reflect. It's the time to rethink. It's the time to reevaluate. And from the middle of the month onward, things will be a lot more easier to start to generate, to act on new beginnings, to make things happen, to take that action. But for now, it is asking you to be a bit patient, Sagittarius, but not for much longer. That's what I have for you. I'll talk to you soon. Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising. Welcome to the full moon in Cancer for your sign. So Capricorn, this full moon is happening right across from you in your sector of relationships, your marriage with your spouse, your business partnerships, your one-on-one relationships. That can sometimes be a best friend if you're not in a relationship. But this is really highlighting your relationship sector and what you want from others. You could be feeling kind of emotional about a relationship. You could be feeling kind of sentimental, kind of tender. You could be really carving out some time to spend with your spouse at this particular juncture. Or you could find that there is a key development in your relationship life. And this might actually be, Capricorn, because of something you've been doing or working on yourself. We have a Mercury retrograde conjunct the Sun in your 1st house. So you're really reflecting on who you are, who you've been, the way you've behaved, and whether or not you want to change something, whether or not you want to adapt something. And for some of you, you might be finding that you are inspired or have sudden revelations when it comes to dating, when it comes to love, when it comes to expressing your love. And it might also be from creativity. So we have a positive aspect from Uranus to both the Sun in your 1st house and this full moon in your 7th house. So your sector of love, your sector of romance, your sector of happiness and joy is supporting your axis of self and your axis of relationships, so self and other. So you might find that you are positively expressing your love to a partner. You might feel more loved by a partner. For some of you, this could be surrounding your children. So there could be the introduction of a child maybe into your life within your relationship, or you and your partner could be spending time with your kids. And if it's not that, if you're completely single, it could actually be that perhaps you are reaching out to someone from the past or reconnecting with someone from the past in a romantic sense. Or it could be that you hear from somebody else, but it looks more likely that it might come from you in a romantic sense. Or perhaps you're just feeling more inspired to date, like you're reflecting on yourself and saying, actually, in 2023, I'd like a relationship. Let's make this happen. And you could be finding as well that you get really good advice. This is going to sound so strange, from a child. Like you're getting the wisdom from a child, maybe in your family, maybe your own kids, maybe your nieces or nephews are saying something that's like, that actually makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Junior. And it just sort of inspires you in terms of your personal goals, but also your relationships. So let's get an oracle card for you, Capricorn. Ooh, first chakra, Archangel Michael. So this is about feeling grounded. I think for a lot of you, you could find around this full moon that you are wanting to feel more secure, more solid, more grounded. Because it's a water sign moon, maybe you're feeling kind of emotional and you're needing to do something practical, like walking on the earth with your bare feet. Maybe you're calling upon Archangel Michael for guidance, for grounding. We got the Envy card for you. This came out for Scorpio as well. So maybe there's a bit of envy being directed to or from you. But if it's being directed to you, it might be worth calling on Archangel Michael. You're supposed to call on him when you need to protect your energy. So maybe do that in case other people are a little bit jealous of you at this time, Capricorn. Maybe because of something you're achieving or something going on in your relationship. I don't know. But it might be asking you to pay attention to the evil eye and calling on a little bit of protection at this time. So that is what I have for you, Capricorn, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Welcome to your forecast for the full moon in Cancer. So Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your 6th house, which is to do with your work. It's also to do with your health and your fitness, your day-to-day habits. It can also be your pets. So there might be something coming up in this particular area for you. Maybe for some of you, you're deciding you want to leave a job. Maybe you're deciding you want to change your diet. You want to give up something in a work capacity. Maybe you want to change one of the chores that you're doing. Maybe you want to change your lifestyle choices. Say you go for a really long walk every day in a different location. You're wanting to change up the location or something like that. There seems to be something coming to a head within your 6th house. And of course, there is this Sun-Mercury conjunction in your 12th house of endings and healing and closure. A lot of you are doing quite a bit of reflection and inner work at this time, Aquarius. So you could be healing from the past, you could be engaging in more spiritual practices, you could be meditating more, you could be journaling more about your shadow, working on your shadow self, working on your limiting beliefs. You could be having very insightful dreams. And there could actually be a breakthrough coming to you, Aquarius, maybe because someone that you live with, someone in your family says something to you and you think, oh my gosh, that makes sense. Or you uncover an old memory, or you have a dream that's particularly insightful, and it leads to a bit of a breakthrough when it comes to maybe something karmic, some ancestral karma maybe, or something like that. It feels as though you could be really having some breakthroughs in your inner world, Aquarius. And again, it could be coming from a family member or someone you live with, because Uranus is transiting the 4th house of your home and your family. And this for you could be because it is sextiling the full moon in your 6th house and trining your 12th house. There could be something comes up with family that is healing, or perhaps some kind of closure for you around this full moon. Similarly, you could be finding that you start to work out with a family member, or it could be that you are, changing up the eating habits of everybody in your home or something like that, or everyone's getting on the same healthy diet for the new year, or everyone's joining the same gym, or you're getting a home gym, or you are clearing out your cupboards and putting in healthier foods, something like that, Aquarius. Let's see what we have coming up for you. Why does this card keep coming? I keep getting the Envy card in these readings. It's really strange. There seems to be a bit of envy going on around this full moon. I'm going to draw you another one to see what that's about. The 4th chakra, the heart. Okay. So it's telling you to listen to your heart and follow your heart, because it's harder to be envious of other people or other people's situations if you're coming from a place of love for your own life and for your own self. It kind of feels to me like this could be envy directed at you, this could be envy directed from you, but it's asking you to tune into your heart and see what that feels like, what that actually means, because it might be an unmet emotional need, or it might be something in your heart chakra that's feeling out of alignment. And it might not be envy at all. It could be something else, Aquarius. So really tune into your heart around this full moon. You know, we have a lot happening in your 12th house. So I feel as though there could be a limiting belief that's saying you can never have something, and that's generating envy. And it's asking you to lean into that, to feel into it, to journal on it, reflect on it, and maybe see where that's actually coming from and what it really is. So that is what I have for you, Aquarius, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Pisces, this full moon is happening in a very romantic side of the sky for you. It's happening in your sector of romance, love affairs, play, creativity. It's also very fertile. It's where you create, where you produce. It's also to do with children. So for some of you, it could foretell a pregnancy. For some of you, it could be a surprise one because there's a sextile from Uranus coming in your 3rd house. So this could be surprising news about a pregnancy, or maybe somebody else's in your life. This feels to me, Pisces, like love and romance is really being highlighted for you at this time. Now, your feelings surrounding love and romance could be coming up at this time. You could actually be falling in love, or you could be falling in love all over again, or you could be falling in love with something like a hobby, something you're taking up that you're very passionate about. This is going to be opposite your Sun Mercury conjunction with Mercury retrograde in your 11th house of groups, of friends, of your social connections, of your hopes and wishes for the future. So for a lot of you with Mercury retrograde there, some of you could be hearing from an old friend, reconnecting with friends, reconnecting with old friends, reconnecting with old groups, reconnecting with old social groups, or reconnecting with an old wish or aspiration for the future. There could be some kind of breakthrough here. So maybe some of you, for example, were wishing for love, and you find around this time that you're hearing from somebody, or you're meeting someone that's really tickling your fancy, and you're thinking, maybe this is actually in the cards for me, or something like this. Uranus is supporting your 11th house coming in from the 3rd. So you could be finding that you are taking up a new hobby or a new interest with a sibling. It could be that a sibling is introducing you to new friends. It could be that you're making friends or making romantic connections through something you're learning, something you're studying. You could be taking a course around this time. You could be attending a very interesting social event. There could be a lot of great ideas going on. There could be a lot of great ideas generated. There could be communication coming up around this time. Some of you could reconnect with a friend from the past, or someone you used to be in a social group with, and this could actually be romantic in nature this time around, or it could be that someone is revealing romantic feelings to you that maybe was under the guise of a friend, or maybe someone you know through a friend, or someone you met through a friend, or something like this. But it's quite a romantic one for you, Pisces. So whether or not that's that you're falling in love with a person, or whether or not it's that you are falling in love with something you're doing, or you're just feeling the love, you're feeling a lot of appreciation when it comes to friendships. You could also be clearing up a miscommunication with a friend or with an older sibling. You could be clearing up a miscommunication when it comes to somebody you're dating. You could be getting good news about children in your life. Your own children, or children that you have in your life, maybe nieces and nephews and things like that. There seems to be something coming in around children as well. But let's see what this is for you, Pisces. Ooh, we have indecision. So you have to make a decision around this time, and you're torn in 2 different directions. Ooh, I wonder what that's about. Indecision, that makes sense. The garden and the gate. It's a should I stay or should I go energy, this or something better. I feel as though a lot of you are pondering what to do next. You're pondering whether or not to take a risk with the 5th house full moon, to get out of your comfort zone, to go somewhere, to do something. You're sort of indecisive about it. You're like, should I move? Should I go to this thing? Should I not? Should I take this chance? Should I take this opportunity? Follow your heart, 4th chakra. Follow your heart, Pisces. With this full moon in the 5th house. The 5th house is associated with the heart. So you might be finding that that is the only way to make a decent decision around this time, Pisces. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon.